can kind of figure out how much, you know, what it was like to live up there.
Wow. Oh, tell about the travel trailer, the trip or whatever, where the brakes went out.
Oh, the trip we went to.
Yeah, tell that trip.
Well, we were going to go to well, I had a car. It was a Chrysler station wagon, and it was one that the bearings in it were not bearings that just went in on the shaft. The bearings had to be tightened to the point that they, you know, would function. And about every 30,000 miles, you'd have to have them, you know, they'd get too loose and oil would start coming out, and the first thing you know, your brakes would start locking, and you know, you're just having trouble. So when we started on that trip, we drove 500 miles before we had any trouble. And that's when Chris, the trip that Chris said something about, says, I never went on a trip like this before in my life, but I hope I never do again. And I don't know, I guess he was probably 10 years old. But it was after we had, on our way back, it was after we had bought gasoline, and he knew we had enough gas to get home. But that was what his sounded off, you know, just before, and then he laid down and went to sleep. But that we got to Calgary, and I guess we were probably 40 or 50 miles from Calgary, but we knew we'd have to go on into there to get the work done that we'd have to have done to fix the brakes. And when we got to Calgary, I pulled into a station, and when they fixed the brakes, they didn't bleed them enough. There was still air in the lines. And when you have air in the lines, you don't have much brakes. It'll stop, maybe, when it's ready, you know, I say. And but anyway, after we stayed there all day and got the brakes fixed, we got, I said all day, it was about 3 or 4 o'clock when we left. And we drove maybe 45 minutes when the brakes went out. And there was a smaller town there, and this young boy was the one that was going to work on the brakes. And he says, I know you think from looking at me that I don't know anything about brakes. But he said, I'll get your brakes fixed.
How old was he?
Well, he was probably about 14 years old, maybe. But near that anyway. And he raised the car up, put it on the, you know, on the whatever the deal is that raises them up, and it was up probably 4 feet high anyway, and he came around and he'd turn the valve that would open up or turn the screw that would release the air that's inside, let it go out, and as soon as the oil started coming out, he tightened it up. And he went around to the next one and did the same thing, and the next one and the next one, and started around again. So he came around 3 times, and the last time he didn't get any bubbles. He says, I came around 3 times, but the last time there wasn't any bubbles. So your brakes are fixed. And after we got all the way across the mountain, we stopped at a station and to get gas, and this fella asked me how we made it over, around Rogers Pass. Well, Corinne was doing the driving, and I was sitting in the back seat. So I didn't even pay any attention to it. I didn't know where Rogers Pass was, and that was the worst place they had. So that's the one that caused most people and truck drivers, because it was a long upgrade, that it caused truck drivers a lot of trouble with heating up the truck and all the excesses that it had to go through to get up to the top, and then coming down on the other side, brakes wouldn't hold or something. But when we were coming down on the other side, it didn't seem to bother anything. We didn't see any trouble. And then we got over there to what is that town right at the coast?
Vancouver?
Just above Washington, state of Washington, right. They join city limits across the line.
I don't know.
Bremerton is one, and well, anyway, when we got there, we didn't go across on the 20 miles that we'd had to rode a ferry in to get over to the one that everybody wants to go see, I guess, and we didn't go see it. But if we had gone over there, that would have been it's named after the princess
Victoria Falls?
something. I forgot now what it is. And we saw the parks that they had, all the flowers that was in there. Boy, it was amazing that at that where it was that cold, that they could have flowers like they had there, and at that time of year, Of course, we did go in the summer, and Corinne and Robert made a trip later and went to Alaska, and they went by the same areas. Well, they flew to Vancouver. That's what it is. They flew to Vancouver, and then a couple went aboard the ship and went out and went on up to Alaska. That's the Northwest Passage, they call it.
Oh.
And but there's glaciers that come down to that passage from the mountains as you go by. So that's some of it is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Tell about your time at Campers on Mission. What is that?
Oh, well, I tell you, we belonged to Campers on Mission for about 10 years, and we would go out to like Falls Creek, and that would give you a good idea. You've been there, haven't you? Okay. Well, we'd go out to an area where, see, Texas has 25 camps. Maybe it's more than 25. But anyway, well, I'm sure it is now. But at the time we were there, and that was, well, see, we joined Campers on Mission just after we got back from, and I guess by 1990 something, we had gotten to a point that we didn't feel like we could go anymore, and so we kind of slacked off. We didn't go. But what we do, we'd go to 3 missions a year, and any kind of repair work or some little new something that they needed, well, we'd fix it for them. We had a crew of, well, the man that was in charge, of the construction or building or whatever we were doing like that, had been a contractor down in Dallas, and they had put up several 20-story buildings, so he knew what he was doing, and we would go and put, well, I can remember one time we went to Mount Lebanon, and the kids, they had made bunk beds out of 1x4s or 1x6, and they said that they needed it made out of heavier lumber. So we made it out of 2x6s next time. And we made 400 bunk beds and put in barracks, And we had 3 buildings that needed new roofs. And the area where they had all the exercise and recreation drinks and stuff out there, I was the one that had to redo that and get it ready for the summer. And then, but to start off with that year, when